Last time we met, we were looking over this youth intake and going over the players that we thought were good enough. And the fact we got 2 players with 2-star current ability or more is always a promising sign. The potential ability in having so many players considered elite talents is useful, even if most of them are considered inconsistent or have other flaws in their personality. It's a shame, but what can you do? That was on the 19th of March. How has the season ended? The last couple of games we had were actually quite successful. We lost our first game 4-2, however, which is a bit of a shame, but then we won 1-0 before we were beaten 2-1 in the next match. The fact we went on to win 3-2 and then 5-0 in the next 2 matches was useful. Unfortunately, May was a bit disappointing. We lost 4-0 away from home in the first game, then only got a 1-0 draw against Rakov, and then Pagon beat us 3-0 to end our season in a bit of disappointing fashion, which, quite frankly, is not a good sign if we're trying to make sure we are a good team in the future. But did it stop us from finishing in the top half of the table? Thankfully, it didn't. We finished in 8th place, though Wisla Block did win the cup because they managed to get into the Europa League, even though they finished in 9th place, which is a bit disappointing, but it's not the end of the world. And you could already see something here and now. Robert Karowski finished 2nd place in the top goal scored chart. And there's actually one more thing I want to talk about. Weber Karowski finished 42nd in the NXGN list, and I was thinking to myself, okay, that's a promising start. He's only 17, 16 at the time if I recall correctly, and he's just pulled that off. So surely that's a good sign for us in the future if we are now being primed with promise that people generally believe we can produce some really good talent for the future. But at the same time, it could also mean that we are potentially going to lose a lot of players due to clubs wanting to poach from our youth system, which, again, not really ideal. But yes, as shown in this final, Wisla Block beat Letier. So a rather strange final when you realise that both teams were only 9th or lower in the final. The fact that neither Legia Warsaw or Lechia Poznan finished in this final was interesting enough to say the least. And apparently Legia Warsaw lost in the first round. Not that I'm too fussed about, but it's just interesting to know that that could have happened in the save. Still though, Lechia Poznan have broken the Legia Warsaw's reign of terror. 4 seasons in a row they've won the league title. Rakov for the team that broke it before, and actually won it after Lechia Poznan did. So there was a period of time, 2 years, that Legia Warsaw did not win the league title. I don't know if that's going to happen again. I don't know if they're going to actually be able to break it again, but Wladimir Gwadon getting 3rd place was a bit of a surprise. It felt a bit like our 3rd place finish that 1 year. Whether or not they do better or not, I don't know, but coefficients were looking okay, and it's not the end of the world. Still, the end of the season review was here, and confetti falling because we're doing much better than expected, finishing 8th place. And new arrivals, this is the amount of players we got rid of. We sold a few, we let go of a few, and it didn't hurt us in the slightest. Guys here, I think, is about to retire. He's actually got a bid, so he may not be retiring. He's been approached by a club, so that's good for him either way. But we let go of a few players, and Kozier is actually still available for free, so he's not picked up a club yet. And the fact we were selling players and it didn't hurt us at all is a good sign for us in the future, and I'm happy that's the case. We are doing okay for ourselves here, and the fact that we have gotten as many players going out on loan or on a permanent basis and it's not hurting us at all is a very promising sign. It tells me that we can survive without some of the players that helped us in the first place. We are producing enough good talent to be fighting for a top half finish in this division on a consistent basis with our youth prospect, and it's very happy days. Season result though, 8th place finish, really good start, and we had a much better start to this year than we did last year. We took us 2 games to get a win this year, it took us 5 games to get a win last year, and the fact we picked up some wins in consecutive games and actually went a good period of time between November and December without losing was very, very promising, and it just tells me that we can be good in our day if we get given good fixture lists. It also tells me that if we get given some bad fixture lists, we are going to struggle a bit more. We did only sell about on average 6,000 tickets per match, so 40% of our stadium was being filled, which is not ideal in that regards, but hopefully in the future we can actually boost that and progress forward. The fact we got knocked down the first round by a third tier side, it's not great for our reputation and our demeanor of being able to get to the third round every single year. It was a very disappointing cup run. Moments to remember, 5-0 win was the biggest win of the season. Kowalski getting a hat-trick in that game was really good. And the match to remember was a 3-2 victory against Brookbeck, so that's good. We came from 2-1 down to win 3-2 after taking the lead in that game. Now, the goal of the season was scored by Dobrovsky, and I thank you for the person who actually sent me this comment. It's very useful to know that actually that's how it's pronounced. But it was very good to see this goal go in, and it was his first ever goal. I think it's only ever goal for us, if I recall correctly. But it's a very good finish. I'm going to show you this goal now. We had just considered an equaliser, and we needed to get a goal back, and then Dabrowski goes and shoots and does this in off the bar. Really good finish, and it's his first ever goal for the club. And what a way to introduce yourself to the fans. He hadn't really impressed before this moment, I think, but he had been starting to get better and better and better throughout the season as this was going, and the fact he did it in August, in one of the very first matches of the season, was really useful. And it tells me that yes, our talented players are getting better and better, and the young talent here are getting really good. So financially, pretty much all the stuff went down apart from the broadcast revenue, which was 1.56 million every year. It's always been the same. The prize money, we lost about 2 million there. Commercial and retail, we lost about 50 grand. We lost about 20 grand in the course put in hospitality. And then we lost about 40,000 in the sponsorship income, which is not ideal. Reputation has stayed around the same, 2.5 star, which is fine. Merchandises, we've actually made almost 70 grand. And we sold 1,379 shirts. I can't tell you if that's an increase or not, but it definitely felt like a good season either way in that regard. How we lined up was this, and already you could tell there's a few hits and misses in this season where some players were good, some players were not. The fact that we have a lot of new gen players that have come through our academy in this starting lineup is really good. The fact we've gone missed like Björskard is not great, but Chichoki was really good, as was Damien. So the two players that have been here from the very start, still showing the goods that they are good and they are willing to be impressive. Kowalski being the third best player in the starting lineup is really useful though, and it tells me that yes, we have a young talent who is going to do well. And the fact he got 19 goals in 34 matches and 2 assists is also very promising. Akrele Chichoki was the player of the season, Kowalski was the young player of the season, and Dombrowski getting the goal of the season was really good. Kowalski having the most goals with 19, and Palak getting 6 assists was useful. Kroll got the most player of the matches, while Chichoki got the highest average rating and completed the most passes per 90, which is, again, very useful. The records we're seeing Chichoki break is good. 261 appearances in the league now is also very nice, and I am going to see this slowly but surely, see him be phased out, I think, over time, because he's now 28 years of age, and I think with the young talent coming through, we're going to have to see him be eased out of the squad sooner rather than later. Wabiki being the oldest ever player and the oldest ever goal scorer for us is really, really useful, and Jan scored in 33 seconds in the game, and it's the fastest goal we've ever had. So again, really promising stuff, and I think we can keep hold of this in the future. It's really, really good to see how well we've done so far this season. Another really good season because it's a history to make again. We started better than anyone expected and really slipped up afterwards. The fact we finished top half after what happened last year when we finished in 15 players is much better than last year, and it tells me that yes, we are definitely getting better and better, and it's really promising. Timeline, I'm not going to let this go through. I'm going to just go through this very quickly. And the fact we're now 5 seasons in is telling me how much has happened here. And this is the season we just had, and it's, again, telling me that what we can do. You can scroll, you can use your mouse wheel to scroll through this as well if you wanted to, but we've invested in a lot of talent this year, and because of how good the intake was, it shows just how much can be done with the talent we have, and it's really, really good to see. So, Sports' profile, we gained another 2,500 social media followers. We got more fair weather fans this time because they're expecting more from us, and we got a few new things to the culture and expectations. Play defensively solid football, play possession football, play high-tempo pressing football, play entertaining football, and develop players using the club youth system, which is not there. It wasn't there before, but it's happened now. And attempt to avoid relegation, that's always the case, and it's slowly but surely getting there. The influence on the ball has now gone up from 2 to 3 out of 5, so that's surprising to say the least. But we've got 3,900 fans who have ticket holders, so that's slowly but surely getting up, and it's really, really good. And the board are also wanting to develop players using the club youth system, so because I've done it so much now, it's pretty much integrated into the culture that I've created at the club, and it's really promising to say the least. And we're now just told to attempt to avoid relegation because we are doing well enough to do it, and it's really promising to say the least. But yeah, Kowalski again, second place in the top goals scored award. He was actually top at one point, having scored 5 goals in 2 matches towards the end of this season, but then got beaten by Ibrahima Nian, so it's not ideal, but what can you do? For 17 years of age, 18 goals and 2 assists is still a very strong season for a youngster who's just making his first full season appearance in the side. Financially, we made quite a bit of money, 759,000 for finishing in 8th place, and we got an extra 547,000 because of how many players we were using in the under-21s category in the Squid Awards, and it was not even close how far we were ahead. We would have had almost double the number of points than the next team, so the fact we are comfortably going to get 547,000 every year for doing this now, and it's a financial incentive to do this. So right now we have 1.672 million, which is great, and we're going to go a bit further into the future to see the European finals and what else can be done. I'll see you in a bit. So we're back, and we've just had a player poached from us from our youth academy. So there we go. Someone has finally been poached, and for the look of things, he doesn't look very good, so I don't know if that's actually a good thing or a bad thing or not, really. Also, I forgot to mention at the time, but our physicist actually got downgraded, which was not ideal. But then I went to the board and said, can we actually get this upgraded? And a day later, they agreed. 1 million being thrown out to use it. We are going to get a 1.1 million for actually taking part in the competition as well. So we just made 1.1 million pounds we got for taking part in the competition to upgrade the facilities that had just been downgraded. It should be finished in November, which is great, but it's not ideal. We just lost the facility for half a season effectively, so it's not great, and hopefully we can do better and better, and whether or not we can work with that, I don't know, but it's annoying that's happened, really, to say the least. But yeah, team's going down. Water Personnel was not a team I was expecting to go down. The Tycoon own team almost went down. They only survived by 4 points, so it actually had more points than we did last year, so there's that, I suppose. But the team's going up, I think, are interesting. Yeah, so Sandecha have been promoted, and they have won the league comfortably, but there's Kizia, I'm saying the name wrong, I know, 100%, but they finished in 2nd place. Gornik finished in 6th place, and won promotion through the playoffs after beating the league favourites, Cracovia, comfortably. And I'm a little shocked that this was a team that was beaten in the final, because I genuinely associate this team with like a top flight team in Poland. Even without knowing much about Poland, I just assumed they were always like a top flight team and would never be taken out or relegated. So the fact they've been relegated is a shock to me. Also, the fact that Wisla, just 2 seasons after they got promoted as champions of this division, have won the Polish Cup annoys me more than I like to admit. I mean, it didn't take me that long to get 3rd place in the league, but even so, it's frustrating that they've won a trophy more than I have. I want to win that cup now. I really do. So, the European Conference League final. Bologna beat Newcastle, so that's slightly awkward for Newcastle fans. Bologna beating you in the final. I think it's the 2nd time that Newcastle have lost this final, if I recall correctly. No, I'm thinking of the Europa League, aren't I? I'm thinking of the Europa League. But Aston Villa won the Europa League, so the 2nd time in a row that English club has won it. Reims of all team win the final, so there's that. And it was the Europa League that Newcastle lost. Yes, they lost to Shakhtar Donetsk just 2 years before, so Newcastle are not enjoying these European finals, are they? Champions League winners, Bayern Munich won it for 2nd year running, this time beating Man City, so Bayern Munich winning 2 years running. They beat PSG and Man City. And Man City were beaten at Old Trafford. That's awkward, because Paris Saint-Germain were beaten in France. What I'm going to do, though, is end this here. I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. I hope you guys like and share this video, and that you subscribe to the channel. It really does help me a lot. Where do you think we'll finish next year? And do you think a top half finish was actually an overachievement compared to last year? I want to hear your thoughts and opinions down below. But either way, until next time, goodbye, and well, good night.